Coders teaches underrepresented and underserved students of color the fundamentals of science, technology, engineering, art, and math, or STEAM, in preparation for academic and career opportunities. STEAM Coders offers students a fun and easy introduction to the STEAM subjects. We educate, inspire, and equip students with the knowledge and resources needed to successfully pursue STEAM opportunities. Our goal is to aim higher. We focus on accessibility, instruction, and mentoring. STEAM Coders emerged from the Gamma Zeta Boule Foundation's award-winning L.A.M.P mentor program in the summer of 2014. The goal was to provide underrepresented and underserved students of color with hands-on computer science instruction. The lack of exposure to the STEAM disciplines during their early childhood education period put students at a distinct disadvantage for future success in these fields. As a result, they are not adequately prepared to pursue STEAM opportunities after graduating from college. STEAM Coders uses idle computer labs and classrooms to bring computer science and robotics courses to disadvantaged students. Classes are held after school and Saturday mornings. Students engage in a variety of computer science applications, mobile app development, video game development, cyber security, and robotics, among others. At the end of each session, students receive a STEAM Coders certificate of completion, but more importantly, they acquire aptitude, confidence, and in most cases, the curiosity and motivation for continued learning. At STEAM Coders, we strongly believe that no one segment of society has a monopoly on great ideas. Talent is everywhere, along with imagination and innovation. We have to remove the blinders, take down the barriers, and unlock the doors to our institutions and invite the underrepresented and underserved students inside. For more information about STEAM Coders, please visit www.steamcoders.org. Full steam ahead. Good morning. So that was my presentation. So any questions? So my name is Raymond Ealy. I'm the executive director and founder of STEAM Coders, and I'm glad to be here this morning. I'd like to thank Innovate Pasadena. I'd like to thank the two mics and individual who really got me involved in Innovate Pasadena, Councilman Andy Wilson. Can you raise your hand back to Andy? Andy introduced me to the organization and a lot of people, so it's been very beneficial. And just to give you some background on myself before I get started, I was born and raised in New York. Any New Yorkers here? Okay, good. You could have a front row seat here. VIP section. So when you're a New Yorker, basically, you're born a skeptic, but you're a pessimist by choice. So we trust nothing and believe nothing. That's just the way it goes. So, but now that I'm a Californian, I'm learning that life can be a little brighter than that. You know, you have, I lived on a dead end, and I came out here, and for $200,000 more, you could call it a cul-de-sac. I was fascinated by that. I tell people back in New York, I go, you don't believe what they do out here. They just change the sign, and the price goes up. Right on red, that was a whole new thing. And then Pasadena took it to a new level when you could go diagonal on a red light, green light. I almost got hit by a car. I didn't even know where I was going here. So, but it's a beautiful thing. I'm here. I've been here longer than I've been in New York, about 30 years. I like the weather, and I really like the weather. So we're going to... Yes, so we're going to run through this real quick. If you need to interrupt me during it, please don't. Questions at the end, okay? We're going to rock and roll here. So coming up, I was raised by a single mom. My dad died when I was 4, had a heart attack. My mother was functionally illiterate. She had a 5th grade education, grew up in Georgia, picking cotton, sharecrop, all that stuff. Got married, moved to New York. She was still functionally illiterate, but her belief was education. And her thing was, if you can go to school and apply yourself, you don't have to do the stuff that I do. So that was her mantra all the time. She knew nothing about college. She went to 5th grade. Nobody in her family went above 6th grade. She was the youngest of 12 kids. But her thing was education. She talked about it constantly and always implored me to work harder, do better, do more, because my quality of my life could be better. So when I see quotes that talk about education, I'm always inspired, because I remember that was her main mission, is just to tell me, you have to be able to think and do more, and you'll be in a better position in life. okay? And so she kind of hammered that in. And this quote kind of emphasizes that the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. And that's what we try to instill in the kids that we serve. We want them to understand not only the value in education, but in their self-esteem and how they look at the world and how the world looks at them. It's very important. When they're at a young age, they don't fully understand that, so we have to keep reminding them over and over and over. So we're a 501c nonprofit. We started in Pasadena back in 2014. And our mission is to make sure the kids learn the fundamentals of STEAM. And the reason we took STEAM was because the kids can develop the skill sets in the STEAM fields that can be applied to anything they want to do in life. So we want to make sure that they start out in a good position. Trying to reprogram young adults in 18, 19 years is very tough. So if we could start at the bottom and get them when they're young, then we could save the time, energy, and aggravation of trying to reprogram them. But the real goal when we talk to parents is we don't necessarily want to create a new generation of computer scientists, engineers, and software engineers. We want them to think. So we want logic, critical thinking, and problem solving, because they could use those skills wherever they go, whatever they want to do. We try to teach the kids that life is not one and done. So you do something, you come up with an idea that you need or want to do to fix a problem, you put together a plan and you execute that plan, and guess what? It doesn't work. So you got to go back to the drawing board, make some adjustments, and then it doesn't work. And then you keep doing that over and over. We have to get them comfortable with failure so that school pretty much penalizes them. You get a D on the test and it's over. You got a D. Not to go back and figure out, why did you get a D? What could I have done better? What did I not do? Did I think about this? Did I rush through this? There's got to be a process. And we try to get them to understand that that's the way life works. So we'll give them an example like the iPhone will come out and all the bells and whistles, everybody's happy, and then they find a flaw. They got to go back in the lab and they got to redo that. Then there's an update, then there's a fix. Now this is a project they've been working on for like a decade, but they still got to find issues and they still got to fix those issues, but they got to be comfortable going back and fixing the issues as often as possible. So we try to get the kids to think that because it didn't work the first 95 times, that doesn't mean you're a failure. That means you got 94 more times that you got to do this. So they slowly start to understand it so that they don't get frustrated right out of the gate. So, and we also want them to focus on issues that impact their world. So trying to get a kid to focus on something where they have zero connection, they don't understand it, they're not exposed to it, is very difficult. So we try to put together issues, problems, challenges that impact their household, impact them personally, impact their friends, their school, their community. Now they're more focused on finding a solution. So we always want them to think about anything that impacts you, you are responsible for finding that solution. There's nobody else going to come drop out from the sky and do that. There's no Easter Bunny. Sorry, Mike. There's no Santa Claus, there's no Tooth Fairy, none of this stuff is going to happen, but you have to come up with the plan and you have to take some ownership of the issue. So we try to get them to understand that if you're waiting for somebody else to do it, it might not happen because they have other priorities. So you're just going to be stuck in your lane forever unless you do something. So we want to empower them so that they feel that they can do it. That's the key. They have to feel that they can do it, and then we'll help guide. Okay, we can't do it for them, but we can help guide them. And that's what we want them to become, self-sufficient and confident in themselves. So one of the problems out there is that in disadvantaged households, they lack a lot of things, right? They lack the encouragement. They have parents often that did not go to college. Some didn't go to high school. Some don't speak English. We have kids in Pasadena at schools that we serve don't have internet, cable, or Wi-Fi at home. They don't have a laptop. They don't have a tablet. They don't have a smartphone. And then they go to the schools that sometimes don't even have computer labs. So they're technically off the grid, I like to say, which is amazing when you consider that we have Caltech and JPL and Huntington Library and the Art Center, Carnegie Observer. We have everything in Pasadena, but we have kids who can't even get online. So those kids are not destined for a bright future. So we have to figure out how to fix that so that the quality of the community is increased. We can't have a large percentage of the population that's ill-equipped to fill the spaces that are available in these jobs in this community. That can't happen, so we have to fix that. The solution that we found for STEAM coders is that we go out and find resources, partners, collaborators, so that we can go to places when the places are empty and we could do a class. So for that kid who goes to a school that does not have a computer lab, they don't have a MacBook card, they don't have an iPad card, they don't have Chromebooks, at home they have no technology, they can't get online, then we try to find that place in the morning on a Saturday or after school that has all of those things and is totally empty. So we'll go to Harvey Mudd on a Saturday morning and teach kids how to do JavaScript. Why? Because it's empty. The students there, Saturday morning, are asleep. I'm not saying they had a hangover or anything, but let's just say Friday night was very adventurous. So we go in and we open up the doors. They open up the door for us, and we bring in 30, 40 kids, and we'll teach them Python. We'll teach them JavaScript. We'll teach them web design. These kids are elated because otherwise they wouldn't have access to the equipment, the instruction, have fun, and that's what we want to do. We want to make it fun first, and then when they're not looking, we sneak in a little education on the side. So that's the way it works, because to tell a kid that he's going to have a 6th day of school on a Saturday, we're not going to get a lot of takers on that. So we have to make it really fun, and we do, and they come back. How do we do what we do? We have a classroom typically of about 15 to 20 students. We have classes for elementary, we have classes for middle school, we have classes for high school. Our student-teacher ratio is about 8-to-1. However, it's supplemented by a lot of volunteers. So when we go to Harvey Mudd, they have a huge volunteer student initiative. So we might have 20 kids and we might have 10 student volunteers. So if you raise your hand, somebody's there in about a split second to answer that question. If you're slow in picking it up, we'll put somebody in a chair right next to you for the rest of the class, and we keep rolling with the other part of the class. If you're a kid that's a high achiever and you kind of move ahead, then we'll isolate you, so to speak, and put you on the side, put somebody next to you, and you could go to lessons beyond where we are at the class level. So we want to make sure we cover every level the best way we can, but more importantly, we want the kids to feel comfortable knowing that they have assistance if they need it, and they have encouragement, but they have somebody there who can answer the question. Now, the flip side of that, of course, is in school, where there could be 30 kids in a classroom, one teacher, no teacher's aide, and I think they call that bedlam and/or chaos, because you have kids who are high achievers who are bored because the teacher's trying to teach to the mean. You have the kids right in the middle who are kind of sort of okay. Then you have the kids falling behind, and they get no help, and they're never going to raise their hand because they know they're not going to get any help. So we try to alleviate some of that stress in the classroom. We also supplement it with field trips. So we have our classes typically after school 2 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, for about 90 minutes. We do it in 8, 10-week sessions when we go to a school. We're in schools in Pasadena, Inglewood, Long Beach, South L.A. We have some charter schools. We have some Catholic schools that are technically Title I schools. We focus on Title I schools, so we try to go where the biggest need. In a Title I school, you have the majority of the kids who are below the poverty line. So we go to schools where we have 2 schools in Long Beach, middle schools, grades 6 through 8. Each school has over 1,300 kids, and 92% of the kids qualify for a free reduced hot lunch. So in addition to running a school, they run a food service program because they serve breakfast and lunch. And for after-school kids, they serve dinner. So there's a lot of issues going on. So resources that may go towards a computer science curriculum, computer science instructor, equipment, now goes to food. So those kids will lose out. Now, food is essential, they need it, but it takes away from a lot of the other things they need, so there's no balance. So we run into that issue a lot of times, and schools say, we would love to have it, we can't afford it, and it is what it is. So for kids who we can't get into those schools, in those communities, we try to find local colleges or space, maker spaces. We use Supply Frame Design Lab here in Pasadena. We use Pasadena City College, University of Laverne. We use Harvey Mudd. We've had electrical engineering at Viterbi School at USC. And in the spring, summer, we're going to be at Cal State Dominguez Hills and Biola. So they open up a new science center. So the goal is to go in where there's space, bring these kids in and help them, work with them, develop them, train them, get them motivated, get them interested in school, get them interested in the STEAM disciplines. And we have to go wherever we need to go to make that happen. So we try to stay in L.A. County. Periodically, we get requests to go a little far afield, but we got to kind of stay in our zone. And we can't even serve all the kids we need to serve in L.A. County, but we know they need what we're offering, and we're going to do our best to try to service. We have about 3,000 kids. So we started in 2014, and we just keep growing and growing and growing. But there are way more kids out there in a lot of communities and school districts that just don't have any resources. So as far as the courses go, we try to do as much as we can. So we have to limit what we can, but we try to develop the kids to get them in basic Scratch and a lot of the introductory level type games. We try to work with them to make sure that they enjoy it, that it's fun. Because if we throw too much at them too quick, they'll just shut it down and never come back to computer science. And we want them to use computer science to do other things. We have art and design that we do at Art Center College, that we try to get the kids to understand the design elements that go into the whole thing, right? They love the iPhone and they love the Samsung and everything else because of the way it looks, because of the way it feels. So we try to teach them sometimes about ergonomics and how the design appeals to them visually before they get to the technical part. So we try to incorporate a lot of things. We throw a lot of things at the kids. Some kids pick it up. Some it takes 2 or 3 sessions for them to get it. But the goal is to give them the maximum amount of exposure. What we see here locally and in other areas is that the kids have zero exposure. So again, in Pasadena, we have world-class institutions that are famous all over the globe. But I could run a field trip to the Art Center College and none of the parents know how to get there. I could send out a flyer about the JPL tour we're going to do. Everybody asks for directions. We do a series of summer robotics camps we did at Caltech this past summer. Parents had never been to the campus, they didn't even know where it was. Half of the parents drove to Polytechnic High School. They didn't know where Caltech was. But there's probably a 9-year-old in Shanghai who knows exactly where it is. And his life goal is to get there. So we have to somehow figure out how we can get our local kids excited about that same opportunity, introduce them to that same opportunity, let them know that this is available to you if you're willing to do the work. But we can't shut them out of this world. They're going to be here side by side. We're going to see them at Starbucks. We're going to see them at cross campus, hopefully one day. We're going to see them wherever we see people in this community. We're going to see these kids 10, 15 years down the road. And they have to be prepared to contribute to society. All right, Mike is expensive. We need a larger tax base to support his lifestyle. Okay, we need these things, all right? So this is not a nice to have. The more people who contribute into the system means the less people we have to carry. And if the rate we're going to have to carry a lot of people. So people complain about taxes and health care and all these things that are out there. The costs are only going to go up. And they're going to go up exponentially if we have people who are not contributing to the process. So we have to make sure everybody on this earth, in this state, in this city is contributing. I already mentioned where we were at some of the locations. And you used to hear the story about a food desert where you go into certain parts of town where they couldn't find a grocery store that had healthy food or a grocery store at all. Well, we have a tech desert. I go to certain areas and I get out on the street, I'll find a community person, I'll find somebody. I say, I need to find space. I have Chromebooks, I have laptops. I just need a space with Wi-Fi, chairs, and tables. And I could swear to you, I could go to certain parts of town and I could spend half a day there and I can't find a place, just to bring the kids in to teach the class. I try schools, they have a lot of rules, they can't do it. I go to community centers, they have a lot of rules, they can't do that. I go to places that are kind of, sort of meant for that, they have reasons why they can't do it. So it's really a struggle to find places where you can go and teach kids for free. You know, some places say, well, we have a fee. I said, I'll pay the fee. How much is the fee? Well, we have a yoga class in the morning, and we have this and that, so we probably can't fit you in. And you see where these issues happen and the frequency in which they happen, so you understand that the kids' challenge goes beyond them not having their own resources. There are no community resources. So we're working on trying to fix that by getting more equipment, donations, and trying to find places that are slowly, slightly out of the way, but may have some room, maybe in the back room or the basement of the library. And we're just trying to make sure that the kid who wants to do it has access to do that. So we're getting a little bit better at it, but it's still harder than than it should be for these kids, because if we don't really empower them and give them the skill sets, I'm not really sure what they're going to do. A lot of the service jobs are going away. Fast food places experiment with self-service kiosks. You know, you just go to, we don't manufacture anything anymore. We're not bringing back manufacturing. Despite what you might hear on the news, we're not bringing back manufacturing, okay? We have something here that's unique in the world. It's called the 99-cent store. California minimum wage, I believe, has gone up to $15 an hour in a couple of years. I'm not sure how you make a profit on 99 cents if the minimum wage for labor is $15. Unless they change the store to the $29.99 store, then it's going to work. But right now, that's not going to happen. So we have to make sure the kids are ready and that they have the skill set. So we want to make sure that we have more talent out there that you guys can hire. A lot of companies that you talk to will always tell you the same thing. They can't find the talent. They don't have enough people. They don't have enough people with the skills they need. So in Silicon Valley, what they do is they just raid your business and pay more and take your top employee. So you have a lot of people who are just really mercenaries because they know their skill sets are in such demand and they can't be replaced. We have to learn how to replace. We have tons of kids here. We shouldn't have to bring in people locally to work. We need to develop the talent that we have here and supplement outside. But for whatever reason, nobody wants to develop the talent. Maybe they don't think they can do it. Maybe they don't have the time. They don't have the resources. Not sure what the issue is, but something's got to give sooner or later because we're going to have way too many people who are unskilled, hoping and wishing, and nothing's going to happen. So that's really what we want to do. We want them to have accessibility. We want them to have the desire to want to do it. But more importantly, we want to make sure they understand that they need to do it and they can to do it. That's what our mission is. So we have we've done some local stuff. I just wanted to show you a couple of quick things, and I'll take some questions. We did a backpack giveaway at Cleveland Elementary School at the beginning of the school year. So we gave out a backpack to every single student. It's K through 5. We gave out 175 backpacks, and Office Depot provided backpack school supplies. So every kid got a full backpack with supplies. This is a group from Bluebeam. Anybody familiar with Bluebeam in Pasadena? And they sent some staff and volunteers to help stuff the backpacks. It was a great day. Here's some kids, and that's the principal, Miss Lucas, in the middle in the blue, and her staff. So we were so happy to be there. We served food. We have everything. And then we brought a special guest. The kids didn't know. Sam, are you in the audience? Sam, stand up, Sam. Sam is from John Arrow Group, and he was there to help. Give him a round of applause. Yeah. And it was a special moment because when we introduced Sam to the children, they said, "Who?" But it doesn't matter, Sam. We love you. So we try to do as much as we can in the community. We do some receptions periodically at some of the schools. Next Tuesday at John Arrow, we're going to do a reception for all the principals in PUSD to thank them for the job that they've done and to introduce them to other groups in the community who also have a desire to serve. They can volunteer. They can offer support. So we want to bring the schools that need with the people in the community who could support those needs. This is one of my favorite classes. We had some young ladies at Supply Frame Design Lab, and we were teaching them Scratch. The first day, they were quiet as a mouse, couldn't hear anything. Everybody's wondering, do they like this? Are they enjoying themselves? Nothing. Second day, a little more lively, but you still weren't sure if they were feeling it. You know, it was a 5-day class, half day. The third day, every 2 minutes, it was, ladies, can we keep it down, please? Can we keep it down, please? Can we keep it down, please? So they really got motivated and pumped up, and they've been back to some other classes. But they had never had any coding experience at all. Half of them didn't even have a computer at home. So they were really happy to learn, and I think it sparked them to want to do more. And this is a final quote from somebody I think you've all heard of, and everybody in this country should learn to program a computer because it teaches you how to think. So everything revolves around thinking. What can I do better? What can I do faster? What can I do more of? And that's really what we want. If we can inspire all the kids to do that, and their parents as well, to encourage them to do that. We want their parents to support STEAM-related activities as enthusiastically as they support sports. So if we get the same amount of input, the same amount of encouragement that they do when they go to football games, basketball games, and soccer games, then we want them to have that same feeling when they go here. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much, Raymond. Always a pleasure to hear you speak so impassionately about your project with STEAM coders in the underserved community. I think it's a very valiant thing that he's doing, and he's giving these kids an opportunity to really thrive, and that's awesome. We wish you the very best in that. We're going to open up to Q&A now. If you have a question, raise your hand. I seek great pleasure. Well, actually, John does, because he's the one that's regulating it. If you are going off in story mode, he will yank the mic away from you. He will do it with a smile on his face. We've been known. Yeah, that was actually a joke. If no one laughs, then it sounds really serious and sort of like heinous. But anyway, thank you. There it is. But yeah, questions now, comments later. Raymond will be hanging out with us. If you'd like to share stories, please do it then. Thanks.
I just wondered if you ever had the need for a smaller event. Like we could fit maybe 8 people in our office to provide the Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll talk afterwards, yes. No space is too small.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I have a very good friend. He's a single dad, adopted a son who's now at Marshall, first year, is absolutely very bored in school and is made to sit at the table at night to do homework. Doesn't want to, finds all kinds of reasons not to. Is this a program that would fit for him, not for his school, but to get his mind going, to get interested in something?
I think so. We try to offer a variety of classes, and we also try to make sure that we do some fun stuff. So for some kids, we're developing a Unity game development class, because we find that a lot of the kids like video games. So you got to find something that they like to do, want to do, and then we try to, again, sneak the educational piece in there. But if you make it something fun, they'll do it. So I would welcome them into the program and try to figure out a way to get them motivated.
Go to the website?
Yes, or call me. I'll give you my card afterwards.
Okay.
All the way in the back.
Hi, it's a great program. I just wondered how you're funded. Are you self-funded? Did the city of Pasadena give you grants? How are you?
We have a model where we get it's called fee for service. So when we go into schools, they'll pay us a fee. So we'll be one of their after-school programs. So we'll get that from the school district. But the bulk of our funds do come from grants and donations. So I've been assured that everybody here today will go online to steamcoders.org and the Donate Now button and make a donation. I appreciate that in advance. And but we do write grants, and we get support from a lot of different organizations, corporations, nonprofits, grant maker organizations. So we're constantly doing that to make sure that we could provide the kids with the classes and the resources. We don't want any kid not to get access because of affordability. So we do whatever we can to raise funds that way.
Hi, Ray.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing? I know you did a lot of events last year in Connect Week, so I was wondering if you could say a little bit about what events you have coming up, some great things building robots and stuff, and if you need any volunteers to help out for those.
We always need volunteers. We have Connect Week, Connect 17, I think is the official title. And we're going to have classes, 10 classes in 10 days. So we're going to do 3 events at the Apple Store. You know, they have a room in the back called the briefing room. So we do iMovie, GarageBand, Keynote. We're going to go to the Neon Retro Arcade. What does that have to do with STEAM? Nothing. We just want them to have some fun. We're going to do a Arduino robotics class. We're going to do I think they call it LilyPad. So we're going to do a lot of stuff, and Alec there was an assistant last year helping us at Supply Frame when we had the legendary Maceo the Magician, and Alec was his trusted sidekick during that whole time. He wore a cape and everything. It was a beautiful thing. So that schedule will be on our website soon, so check that out. It's the week of, it's October 13th through the 22nd. And the kids have a ball. Last year we had almost 200 kids show up for these events, and they loved every minute of it, and so we're going to try to do it again, bigger and better. Yes.
Great presentation. Thank you, Raymond. I have a question regarding, you scale really fast, and how do you keep up with the supply of teachers, right? Qualified instructors, because...
That's a challenge. So we have professionals who volunteer on their own time. We get a lot of college students. We try to find CS or computer science majors. And then we train some high school interns who really like computer science. But we always need people who are skilled in any of the areas, and that's probably going to be our toughest one as we try to expand, because we got to cover a lot of ground. Again, we go from Claremont, University of Laverne, all the way down to Long Beach. So it's finding people geographically who can get to those areas after school or weekends. So it's a challenge, but you know, it's a good challenge.
Raymond, you're saying you have 40 kids in a class.
No.
Or if you do have 40 kids in a class, how many of those have no internet access at home?
I would probably say a good 25% consistently have
Well, that's
zero.
got to be frustrating, because you kind of spark something in them, and then they have no way to follow up on that, do they?
It is. It's frustrating, you know. And then the other part of the puzzle is we've been looking at ways to try to get kids some simple equipment. But then we have no control over if they go home and just play video games, because the parents don't really know what they're doing and, you know, may not be that interested. So it's a double-edged sword. You wish they had it, but if you're not there to manage it, you don't know what they're going to do with it. So it's a tough one. We haven't figured out how to get around that one yet, but we think about it a lot.